we can observe what are the parameters which they have specified. They have specified that there are 10 number of turns. The diameter of the helical antenna, what we have represented, is 100 millimeter. Then the spacing between two successive turns is 70 millimeter, and the frequency at which it is operating is given by 1 gigahertz. So the first parameter what you have to identify is the operating wavelength. So operating wavelength is given by C by F. So where C is the speed of light. So it is 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 1 gigahertz, that is 1 into 10 raised to 9. So when we estimate it, we obtain operating wavelength which is equal to 0.3 meters. Next, what is the circumference? That is the capital C, what we observe for the helical antenna. The circumference is given by pi into the diameter parameter. So when we observe that, we substitute it, we obtain the value which is 100 milli into pi value. So 100 milli into pi. So the first parameter what we have to estimate from the problem is you need to identify the half power beamwidth between first null, gain, and the axial ratio. So let us see one by one. Say if I try to estimate the gain, so since the efficiency factor is not provided, we go for the directive gain. We assume that efficiency is 100%, that is K is equal to 1, and we estimate what is the value. So here directivity, that is the gain is equal to directivity, which is given by this equation. So substitute the values in respective and once we substitute this, we obtain directivity of 38.38. We obtain 38.38, which is the directive gain value. It is the directive gain value. So we have estimated the gain parameter, and since it is specified as gain, we are considering K is equal to 1. Okay. So next we have half power beamwidth, which is given by this equation 52 by C into square root of lambda cube divided by n into S. So when we substitute the parameters, we obtain half power beamwidth, which is around 32.5 degrees. So when you're measuring this value, right, if you're using the SI units for all, first you will be getting the value in terms of radians. Okay, you will be obtaining the value in terms of radians, and if you want to convert that radian into degree, so and you obtain the value. So next you look forward for beam width between first null. So when I substitute the respective values over here, I get beam width between first null equal to 71.89 degrees. Again, when you are utilizing the SI units, right, just check out. If you're getting some other value, it will be in the radians. If you get in the radians, you convert that into the degree. So if you obtain the values in radians, see that you make the corrections. So next we have the axial ratio, which is around 1.05. So based on these parameters, that is half power beamwidth and beamwidth between first null, and if we just observe, it is monofilar right-handed helical antenna. So when we consider this and we plot the radiation pattern. So in general, if I just consider it, so it will be having the main lobe. In that main lobe, what we are having, we can observe that beam width between first null is 71.89 degrees. So here what we have a null over here. So when we measure this angle, it will be around 71.89 degrees. So this is the beam width between the first null. And when we measure half power beam width, so it is approximately half of this one. But since you are estimating it from the equation itself, you will be getting it around 32.5 degrees. So since we have this parameters, we'll be utilizing and we obtain it around 32.5 degrees. So from the maximum value, you come below by 3 dB if it is a 3 dB plot. If it is a field plot, you have to come by 1 by square root of 2. So at that point, you try to see where the points for half power beam width are. So if I measure along this parameter, that is this angle, I'll get an angle of 32.5 degrees. 32.5 degrees. So that is what they have represented over here. So these are the 2 points what they have considered, and this is the half power beam width, and these are the 2 points for the nulls, and beam width between this first null, that is this angle, is around 71.89 degrees. So this is an example pertaining to the helical antenna. So similar kind of antenna is problem is discussed in this part, so I'll not be discussing this aspect. So let us discuss regarding the parabolic dish antenna or the parabolic reflectors in this case, which is also called as microwave dish antenna. So in a few of the say you might have observed the dish antennas. Say if you're utilizing any of the element, any of the antennas, right? So nowadays you observe these kind of antennas. So that is, I'll just show the image pertaining to that. So you might have seen these kind of antennas which are recently being used. So these are the dish antennas, that is a microwave dish antennas, in which you will be having a parabolic surface. And apart from that parabolic surface, there will be one element, which is LNB element, which what it does is this helps in reception of the signals which are being projected onto this screen or this dish. So this is helping us to get access to those signals, and those signals are captured and transmitted via the cable to the receiving device. So this is the antenna what you can see nowadays. So then apart from that, again, we have another example. So this is a parabolic antenna. So or the dish antenna what we specify. So here this is the parabolic structure what you have, and you have a receiving element in between. So these are just a few things to note down over here. You have a concave kind of structure. You have a concave kind of structure on which either the radiations are falling and those radiations are pointed towards the focal point, which is the feed point. So the feeding element what we saw, right, it is at this position. It will be at this position. That is where the say radio waves get accumulated. That is, they join at the focal point. Even in some other antennas, we will be having a transmitter connected over here, which focuses the waves onto this and it projects it onto the in one direction. So the direction of maximum will be along, say, the axis of this, say, a concave. So this is what we have for parabolic antenna. So these are the structures what we observe. So we can use different kind of antennas along with this structure. So we have a structure, and we saw that there was an handle which was present, and on that you had a device which was mounted. So that device is a antenna itself. What that does is it helps to either receive the signals which are being projected onto this curved surface, or they help to transmit the microwaves from this end to the other end by projecting those waves onto the concave surface. So these are the two things what we can achieve with the parabolic structure over here. So if we observe what we have is, if I consider this as the axis of this entire structure, that is the parabolic antenna or the microwave dish antenna, we observe that along the axis we are having the maximum, that is the peak value. So this is the structure which is pertaining to the parabolic dish antenna or the microwave dish antenna. So here few parameters to again note down is the directivity. So directivity is majorly given by D is equal to 4 pi by lambda square into AE, where AE is the effective aperture. Now, when we are considering this parabolic structure, right, we will be having the physical aperture, which is given by this entire structure. So not entire structure will be useful or will be leading towards reception or the transmission of the signal. So which implies that only some effective, not all the power will be delivered to the receiving end. So only certain amount of power will be delivered, which is classified as effective power. So that gives rise to effective aperture. So therefore we have directivity which is given by D is equal to 4 pi by lambda square into AE. Now when we consider this case, right, depending on what kind of antenna we are using, so it can alter. So now if I just consider a pyramidal horn, its efficiency is around 60% to 65%. It is in this range. So if we consider this case, what we have is we had observed in a previous condition that if we take the ratio of AE by AP, that is effective aperture to the aperture, we get the overall efficiency of the antenna structure in terms of the aperture. So where this gamma, what is represented is the efficiency factor with respect to the apertures. So therefore, effective aperture is given by the efficiency factor into the physical aperture. And we observe that the efficiency of the pyramidal horn generally is in the range of 60% to 65%. So if you're considering the maximum, so if it is around 65%, we obtain AE is equal to 0.65 times AP. So therefore, if we substitute it in the above parameter, if we consider the physical aperture, it is the overall area of the antenna what we are considering. That is the parabolic structure what we are considering. So if I consider that D is the diameter of this, then a radius will be D by 2. It will be D by 2. If this entire structure's radius is D, its diameter is D, its radius is D by 2. Therefore, area of this one will be pi r square, which is pi into D square by 4. So we obtain the physical aperture, which is given by this equation. So when we substitute it, we obtain the effective aperture in terms of the diameter of the parabolic as 0.51 times D square. So when we substitute this value in the above equation of directivity and simplify it, we can get the directivity in terms of diameter of the parabolic and the operating wavelength, which is given by 6 into D by lambda its square. The gain, if you just observe the directivity or the gain, again depends on the aperture what we had considered. In that, again, if you observe, it depends on the diameter of the parabolic reflector and the operating wavelength. So this is what we have for parabolic antennas. So next we have the half power beam width. which is given by 70 divided by d times lambda, and beamwidth between first null is given by 140 divided by d by lambda. Now you might have seen that you use it in broadcasting applications, which is in which you are getting the channels, TV channels via the satellite. So in satellite-based communications, right, you are using these kind of structures as the receiving antenna at one end. Say you might have observed the dish antennas, which are used for different providers. So all of them are making use of this dish antenna. So this is the specification pertaining to the parabolic antennas or the dish antennas. So now let us have a look at a problem, and then let us wind up the session. So in this, we observe the given parameters: a 64-meter diameter antenna. So diameter of the antenna is given, is operating at frequency of 1.45 gigahertz. So we have the frequency. Is fed to a non-directional pyramidal horn antenna. Calculate the gain, half power beamwidth, and beamwidth between first null with respect to lambda by 2 dipole, assuming even illumination. So let us look at the given parameters and let us try to utilize the above equations. So frequency is 1.45 gigahertz, diameter is 64 meters. Therefore, lambda is C by F, which is given around 0.206 meters. So directivity is given by 6 into d by lambda its square. So when we substitute for this parameter, we obtain a directivity of 579.13 into 10 raised to 3. So which is very high value, as we had seen as compared to the previous helical antenna problem. Then half power beamwidth, it is given by 70 divided by d by lambda, so which turns around 0.225. Say this will be in the radians form. So the bandwidth between first null is 140 divided by d by lambda, which is 0.45. So this is an example pertaining to the parabolic antenna. So this is all for today. Let us meet in the next session, in which we'll be discussing regarding the last part of this session, that is the antenna. Thank you.